But wow, hey, much love and respect. Pura vida, mi gente. So once again, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you guys taking the time to do that. We're gonna go ahead and get back into this book right here. It's called Researches into the Lost Histories of America, or the zodiac shown to be an old terrestrial map in which the Atlantic isle is delineated so that light can be thrown upon the obscure histories of the earthworks and ruined cities of America. This is by W.S. Blackett from 1884. And again, if you're new to my channel, we're literally in part 11 of this particular series or reading of this book. You can find the playlist of all the previous videos. It's called the same thing, Researches into the Lost History of America. If you go to my playlist tab, you can find all my playlists. And we have gone over a lot of good information. So you won't be missing context. I do advise that you try to catch up if you like this book or if it seems interesting to you. Again, it's all there for you in order if you like to take the time to do that. So today we're going to continue where we left off. We're going to page 239 and we're going into chapter 23. This is probably going to be a quick reading because it's in between another topic it's going to go into when it's talking about, we're going to go into South America after this chapter right here. So we're going to read this chapter today just to get it out the way. And it is pretty interesting as well. All right, so let's just go ahead and go through it together. The chapter is called The Sculptured Edifices, Cyclopean Buildings, and Other Remains in Western Europe attest the presence of American races in conformity with the conclusions reached in the foregoing pages, okay? We've been saying this, a lot of these ancient nations of Europe, a lot of them coming out of the true old world, so-called Atlantis, America. And it says here, with some antiquarians, ancient structures and sculptures are more regarded than the traditions which belong to them. Yet it ought not to be so. Antiquarianism, as it busies itself with old stones and implements of art, is an interesting study, but it leads to no useful conclusions. It is only when ancient edifices, bridges, and towers are made to tell the tale of their early builders and the histories connected with them that they serve the purpose of practical enlightenment. There is a remarkable group of myths in the classics relating to Sardinia, which, as they throw more light upon the connection of America with Western Europe and are more local than other myths, are worthy of attention. In this study, the work of La Marmora de Ferrera and Mr. J. W. Tyndale can be used with advantage. The island of Sardinia is said to have received its name from Sardus, a son of Hercules, who settled there with a colony which he had brought with him from Libya. Other colonies came under Aristaeus, Norax, and Jolaus. Now, again, remember some of the research we've done on Hercules. Could he personify a real person? Could he be the biblical Samson? And that's what we've been researching before. Also, Hercules seems to have traveled to the Americas when he's doing his little journeys, and these Greek fables and stories. A family called the Thespiades, or children of Thespius, also went to Sardinia with Jolaus, the friend of their father, whose 50 daughters were married to Hercules. That's from Lempriere. In the works referred to, considerable notice is taken of what are called Sarde idols, a number of small metal images, and of a certain towers called Noragi, and the sepulchres of the giants. The Noragi, of which there are said to be as many as 3,000, are towers in the form of truncated cone from 30 to 60 feet in height and from 100 to 300 feet in circumference at the base. They are built upon natural or artificial mounds and are enclosed by a low wall. All right? They are built upon what? Mounds. Where do we find numerous mounds, guys? The ascent is from the interior, and it is supposed that they must originally have had a platform on top. These towers are referred to by several ancient authors. Aristotle says that in Sardinia are edifices of the ancients erected after the Greek manner, and many other beautiful buildings, domes, finished in excellent proportions. And he refers them to Jolaus, the son of Iphiclus, with the Thespiades. Diodorus Siculus says the same thing, but makes Jolaus sent to Daedalus out of Sicily to build them. Jolaus builds public schools and temples of the gods, and everything for the benefit of mankind. Mr. Tyndale reasons on the possibility of the erection of the Noragi by the Phoenicians, but comes to the conclusion that there is nothing like them except in the Balearic Isles, where they are called talayots, which word he says is a diminutive of Atalaya, meaning the giant's burrow. Those are more Cyclopean than the Noragi and have but one principal chamber. Many of them are surrounded by circles of stones and what are supposed to have been altars. To understand these Noragi, their builders, and the hidden histories which must be connected with them, the myths, pedigrees, and names of places mentioned in the above extracts from Greek authors are necessary. The myth of Norax himself, whose name the towers bear, is as follows. Norax, a son of Mercury and Erythea, who led a colony of Iberians into Sardinia. Now, Norax is a son of Mercury. It has been amply shown in the foregoing pages that Mercury is the Quetzalcoatl of Mexico. Is that really the case, guys? We know Mercury is Thoth, right? But we also know Quetzalcoatl had a twin, Xolotl, a twin named Xolotl, who was the dog-headed god or deity of the underworld, just like Anubis. And we know Anubis is related to Hermanubis, who is Hermes, who is Thoth. So again, we got to dodge the hijack sometimes. He, by crossing the Atlantic into Western Europe, becomes the god of Gaul. But either way, he's letting you know they're coming from America. As Erythea, the mother, is an island between Gades and Spain. It follows that this son of Mercury must have landed at the gate of the gods and become an Iberian. He it is that passes into Sardinia and builds the towers. In another myth already given, Sardus, the son of Hercules, gives name to Sardinia. Now, Hercules is the constellation overhanging the lands of the red men in North America. All right, so again, so earlier I was saying about Hercules and his relationship to America. And as a reminder, because we have a chapter on this in this book we read, Hercules is actually the constellation overhanging the lands of the red man in North America, so-called red man, copper-colored. It is in those lands that the mound cities are found. It follows that Sardinia must have been colonized from the mound cities. Again, Sardinia, all right? So this is what I'm saying to you guys about, a lot of people do research on Crete, Malta, Sardinia, and all these places, and these ancient buildings there and the stories there. And I've been saying a lot of those people are supposedly coming from Atlantis, so-called America. Here is an author from 1884 telling you the same thing. It follows that Sardinia must have been colonized from the mound cities, from America. Both Aristotle and Diodorus Siculus refer to Noragi, to Jolaus, the son of Iphiclus. Iphiclus is another name for the constellation Ophiuchus, which overhangs the mountain cities of the southern states of America. Here is a brother of Hercules. Jolaus, the son of Iphiclus, is traceable across the Atlantic Ocean into northern Africa. Again, into, not out of Africa, but into Africa. And again, coming from America, where he becomes god of the Mauritanians, an American. There is no actual inconsistency in these myths. They show that Noragi was built by races who came from beyond the Atlantic. There is nothing in the myths mentioned that gives the exact spot from which the actual builders came. But that desirable link in the evidence is supplied by what is said of the correspondent towers in the Balearic Islands. It is Atalaya. They are towers of Atalaya, which word by use shortens itself to Talayots. Atalaya is the name of the tower of Quiche in Central America. All right? The reader will remember that Atalaya was the capital of the empire of the Quiche under the Balam, its sovereign, under Balam, which means lord, under their lord. It's sovereign, right? Now again, Atalaya. Now add the Greek suffix to the end of this, the tis, and what do you get? Atalayatis, Atalantis, Atalayatis. There's also a lake around there called Atatlan, Atatlantis. In an American work by Squire called The Serpent Emblem, there is a picture of a tower at Texcoco, near the ruins of Quiche, the city now referred to. It differs from the Noragi of Sardinia in only one circumstance, and that is that the ascent is from the outside. In addition to the towers, in the work referred to by Mr. Tyndale, much is said of the Sarde idols. Some of these figures have heads of animals, such as apes, antelopes, and most of them have tails. It is said that similar idols have not been found in any other country. The figure now presented is one of the Sardinian idols. If the reader will take the trouble to turn to the end of the 21st chapter, he will there find a picture of Chemis or Hemis, the god of Haiti, one of the West Indian islands, and they're identified as Cerberus. Okay, you guys hearing this, right? On a comparison of the two images, it is hardly possible to deny that they are one and the same. All right? It's the same. Now, the constellation of Cerberus overhangs the West Indies, and it follows that the Sarde idols must have been brought by Hercules or his son Sardus from Haiti. All right? This is the very thing said to have been done by Hercules. He brought away Cerberus when he went to redeem Alceste. The classical mythology of Ireland hangs upon Iris, right? Or Chaldea, right? Ireland, Chaldea. Iris, a daughter of Thaumas and Electra, one of the Oceanides. She was the messenger of the gods and more particularly of Juno. She is the same as the rainbow and represented with all the variegated and beautiful colors of the rainbow. Iris is identical with Ireland in name and nature. Great Britain and Ireland are depicted in the zodiac as a bird or bird harper holding a harp. This latter object is the heraldry of Ireland, and Iris herself is a woman bird. This identity of Iris with the Irish is confirmed by the myth of Orpheus. The lyre is his. He passes backward and forward to the underworld. The symbolism is slightly varied when Iris is made a rainbow, over which as a bridge she becomes a messenger of the gods. To the green and emerald idol, the American localizations have been noticed before. Iris is the child of Electra, the wife of Atlas, locating in Quiche in Central America. Thaumas, her father, is a son of Neptune, standing for the Nahuas race or the Nahuas. Thus, the Aslans and the Nahuas are parents of the Harpies, and they fly across the Atlantic Ocean and settle in the first land they come to, that is to say, in Ireland. Again, from America. This theory is novel, but it challenges criticism. Let it be put to the severest test. There is a valuable and costly work by Marcus or Mr. Marcus Keene entitled Towers and Temples of Ancient Ireland, which can be utilized for this purpose. Nearly 200 pictures of Irish erections and sculptures adorn this work. It forms a complete picture gallery of Irish antiquities. This work shows that Ireland is remarkable for numerous old erections, very unlike European buildings. Among them are round towers, Cyclopean walls and crosses, adorned with curious and complicated sculptures. On the sculptures are symbolic figures that belong to classical mythology and the zodiacs. There are beautiful specimens of doorways adorned with what is called ashlar enrichments. These remains have their most remarkable exemplification in the renowned chapel attached to Cashel Cathedral. The author proves that these things belong to a period reaching back to times anterior to all modern history and architecture. The Celts from Spain could not have erected them. They did not build in stone. The English could not have built them. They conquered Ireland only in 1172 AD. The Irish saints could not have built them, as the sculptures are not of the Christian type. The Normans could not have built them, as they never went to the west of Ireland, where the buildings are chiefly found. Besides, the Norman arch is a simple arch destitute of the rich ashlar ornamentation of the Irish doorways. Without entering largely into this question, it is sufficient here to point out that, in the light of the localization of mythic personages practiced in this work, it is not difficult to understand the Irish question. The architectural remains and the symbolism sculptured on them accord minutely with the mythology of Irish. They, of themselves, point out their historical origin. One of the most significant objects found on the Irish sculptures is that of the Sagittarius. This compound figure is over the doorway of the Cormac Temple. It will be remembered that the Sagittarius is the zodiacal portraiture of Central America. All right? You guys heard? Remember? We read this already. So that it ties Ireland to that land, quite as well as the myth of Irish. So, just pointing out many things that tie ancient Ireland to ancient America, and we've gone over so much more stuff, right? It has been shown in its proper place that Sagittarius is the son of Pan. It may be asked, what significance can Pan have in Ireland? The answer is that in the book of Lacane, where the question is put, whence the origin of the Gaed Hel? What was the land in which they lived, lordly men of Feni? The Fenians carry the name of the father of the Sagittarius. Another emblematical object found on the Irish sculptures is that of the human hand. The red hand of Aaron. Now listen to this. The red hand of Aaron, is that the red hand of the line of Sarah? All right? As it is called, is sculptured on the cross of Kells within a circle. It is also on the cross of Monastabois. It will be remembered that in the zodiacal portraiture of Central America, the human hand is one of the Coptic figures called Arueris. In Mr. Stevens' Incidents of Travel, it is said that prints of the red hand are found on all the ruined buildings of the Yucatan. Do you guys hear that? The red hand? I didn't even know that. You know, we got to get into the book by Mr. Stevens. That's a great book I've referenced in certain parts in older videos, but we're going to read the whole thing eventually. And it's very interesting that they're even telling us this right now. The red hand, huh? Found in all the ruins of the Yucatan. Are we talking about, again, the line of Sarah, of the line of Judah? Come on now. You guys see? Here the color is material. The red hand of Yucatan. Wow. The red hand of the line of Sarah, the son of Judah, is reproduced in the red hand of Aaron. Now the word Aaron is only a different form of the harpy iris. One of the most noticeable features in the architecture of the iris remains is the ashlar ornamentation. It is exceedingly rich and forms a most elaborate and splendid exhibition of enrichment. This particular form of ornamentation has been found extensively in the ruins of Yucatan. Yucatan, a son of Eber. It must be a mistake to call the ashlar Norman. It is found in Europe where the Normans never went. It corrects a mistake to bring it from Central America. So they're correcting a false narrative when they're telling you it actually came from Central America, the true old world. It is much the same with the Irish crosses. The crucifixion scenes which characterize the Irish crosses are not Christian. The form of the figure suspended differs from that of a crucifix. The picture of the Palenque cross has been given at page 227 and discovered as it was in monastic buildings. It may safely be considered as the antitype of the Irish cross. All right? And we've gone over what they found in Palenque, all this old world symbology, so-called old world. But it is the round towers of Ireland which form the most conspicuous part of these remains. Now remember, we've actually gone over a lot of the round towers they found in North America, and New England, and other states, resembling exactly the same as the ones in Ireland and the British Isles and other parts of Europe. The origin and the uses of the round tower have been a great mystery. The veil of mystery is suddenly removed when mythology reveals the real origin of the tower. It is at Atalaya and other places in Central America that the antitype of the round tower is found. What? The origin. All right? And the treatment of the Nuraghi of Sardinia. In a former part of this chapter, the question of the Irish tower received this elucidation. Mr. Keane has a theory. He finds in the legends of Ireland and in the histories of the Tuatha de Danan, all right, the tribe of Dan, listen, the race of the Cushites, dodge the hijack. The tribe of Dan is not Cushites. The Tuatha de Danans are, with him, the last Cushite colony that settled in Ireland in 1900 BC. But who were the Cushites? Now, again, the tribe of Dan, supposed to be Israelites, right? Where's he getting this Cushite thing from? On the traces of mythology, the Cushites are the Atlantides. They're what? Cushites coming from Atlantides, America. This is seen in the native name of the Indians of Central America and Yucatan. Listen, Atalan is glossed by Kutan. Yucatan is Yukutan. The Danans of Ireland have been found at page 206 in Central America, as the Hindu Danus and the Greek Danaus. So remember, check out my 3 Danite videos. We're just talking about Danites. They were seafaring people. Okay? And Danites ain't Cushites. But he's letting you know some of the correlation we've done already. They are the same as the Hindu Danus and the Greek Danaus. Tuatha is the leader of that race into Ireland, as Teotatis is into Gaul, and Thoth into Egypt. All right, same people. Tuatha, Thoth, Teotatis, Thoth. Didn't Thoth say he's coming from Atlantis? Isn't Thoth a Westerner? Besides the Emerald Tablets, because people try to debate me on the Emerald Tablets. In the mythology and legends and the Book of the Dead and all that of Egypt, Thoth is a Westerner. And also the main gods, they're all Westerners coming from the Atlantic. It is said that King Alfred was educated in Ireland at the College of Basle in Mayo. All of his time came to Ireland for education. It would seem from the map of Mayo that the Mayas of Yucatan and crossing into Ireland, the Mayas crossing into Ireland, listen, or Chaldea, must have settled in Mayo and have given their own name to the land, for the country is full of the name of the god Baal, Bala, Baligas, Balimoti, and others. Passing from Ireland and its midst to the other parts of the British Islands, it may be noticed that one of the most observable subjects which the British antiquarians have been accustomed to study is that of the heaps of stones which are discoverable on the summits of hills in England and Wales. In England, they are called barrows, and in Wales, cairns. In the account of the Appalachian Indians, transcribed at page 177, it is said that the race of Indians were accustomed to observe this particular practice. They erected heaps of stones in all their colonies. From the position of the Appalachian Indians, they must necessarily have been among the earliest arrivals, listen, of the Oceanides in Europe. The Appalachian Indians, right where the Antilles was. Remember the map of Antilles? It was actually the eastern part of North America, from the Mississippi to the Atlantic, all the way up to the Susquehanna River and then the Gulf of Mexico. That was an island they were picturing in these old maps as Antilles. Remember that video we did? Doesn't it correlate what he's saying here? Again, from the position of the Appalachian Indians, they must necessarily have been among the earliest arrival of the Oceanides in Europe. Again, the hill forts of Wales and England are faithful reproductions of those of Mexico. It is the same with the Cyclopean bridges. The hill fort called the Castle of Tintagel is a famous specimen of the one, and the Cyclopean bridge at Longbridge near Trevena on the west coast of Cornwall is a good specimen of the other. In the work of Dupax on Mexican antiquities, okay, we just did a video about a month ago. What Dupax was describing he was finding in Mexico. Do you guys remember? Come on now, listen to what he's going to say. There is a picture of a bridge at Tlaxcala, which might have been the model for this bridge. So exact is the resemblance of the two bridges. There is also a picture of a hill fort exactly like the castle of Tintagel. It has been seen that Herodotus makes Hercules to be the father of Agathyrsus, Gelonus, and Scita. If so, there must have been vast numbers of the inhabitants of the mound cities of North America and Britain. The existence of circular mounds of a similar character to the American earthworks is an ocular demonstration of the correctness of Herodotus. The dimensions of the British mounds are usually small, as if built by a small number of men, but the great earthworks at Arbery exhibits a great city, similar to that described on the Miami River, Ohio. All right? But the most remarkable remains discoverable on the west coast of Europe are the Cromlechs or dolmens. These extend from Sweden, where they are seen in their most complete form, at the summit of artificial mounds, all down the west of Europe. The mounds bear the nearest possible resemblance to the pyramidal mounds of North America. All right? So many dolmens have been found in North America as well, parts of Central and South America. So, again, correlating, we've read this so many other books correlating what he's saying here. The mounds in Sweden and other northern lands have all a cromlech at the summit. In all probability, such cromlechs must have been used as stones of sacrifice. The mounds with the altars look as if they had been cast up by immigrants from Mexico, an imitation of the Mexican temples and teocallices or pyramids. This is corroborated by the circumstance that in Arnkeel's work on the Simbrish religion, there is a picture of a human sacrifice in the Mexican form. Okay? The coast of western France and Brittany is full of ancient stones of Celtic character. All right? I want to say this part of that region they're talking about right now, western France and Brittany, it was also called Armorica. Armorica. They spoke the Armorican language, Armorica, Armorican. The same may be said of the Land's End in England. Wales is covered with cromlechs, dinas, and collections of stones. It is observable of these stones that they are all upon the western shores. Even the cromlechs of Hindustan are in the west. This circumstance points to the erection of them by some extraneous race or races from the west who were not powerful enough to penetrate beyond the coast. The most remarkable ruined edifice in Western Europe is Stonehenge. This has been referred to before at page 193. It is necessary now to refer to it again. The passage from Diodorus may be transcribed with advantage. Hecatius and some others say that in the ocean there is an island over against Gaul, as big as Sicily, where the Hyperboreans under the Arctic Pole inhabit. They say that Latona was born here, and therefore they worship Apollo above all the gods. Apollo, Appellation, Apollo. There is a stately grove and a circular temple with rich gifts. There is a city whose citizens are most of them harpers, chanting to Apollo. They have a language of their own. They have a special kindness for the Greeks. From the Abadis traveled into the Greece, the sovereignty of the island belongs to Boreadis, the posterity of Boreas. If the reader will take the trouble to peruse the close of the chapter referred to, he will find an argument to prove that the religion of the European Apollo must have had its rise in the southern mountain cities of the United States, okay? People saying I'm making up all the stuff of America being the true old world when we got all these old books saying the same thing based on research. There is an extract from Lucian to show that the religion of the Syrian Apollo must have gone from the country of the Appalachian Indians into Syria. Okay? There is no difference between the Syrian Apollo and the oracular Apollo of Delphi. And the extract now given draws the Greek Apollo from the isle of the Hyperboreans, that is to say, from Britain. Abadi is an impersonation of Aubrey carries it there. That is confirmed when Orpheus, who according to Archbishop Potter taught religion to Greece, is himself one of the harpers of Britain. The extract now given makes Stonehenge to be the high place of the Apollo worship. Stonehenge is halfway between the mythic Olympus and Greece. It must therefore be inferred that the Appalachian Indians, with their priests and medicine men, must have been the builders of Stonehenge. Okay? It must therefore be inferred that the Appalachian Indians, with their priests and medicine men, must have been the builders of Stonehenge. Now, there is a little controversy with Stonehenge. Some people say it was built in the 1950s, or at least maybe it was just remodeled, right? They keep remodeling and make it look newer. Or what are they really hiding when they're remodeling it? That grand and marvelous erection therefore attests the truthfulness of Plato. Listen, when he brings into Western Europe a great conquering people from beyond the pillars of Hercules, right? Or the Atlanteans, so called Americans today. Appalachian Indians, huh? From Antilles, the island of the Antilles. Antilles, remember that video? The remainder of the work will be occupied with researches into the south of American histories. All right. And guys, that's where the chapter ends. I told you it was going to be a quick reading today because this book is about to go into South America. You know, we've gone over info from North America, Central America, and now he's going to go into South America. So I told you today was going to be a quick reading. I just wanted to get this chapter out the way. The next reading will be a lot longer. We're going to read more than one chapter. There's a lot of chapters on South America, and it's going to have some great info to make more corroboration. America is the true old world. But I hope you enjoyed a little bit of this reading, just more and more and more corroboration, more proof. America is the true old world, and many people, even before the 1900s, already knew this. This was silenced. This was, you know, brushed under the rug. This was kept from us, so we wouldn't even think about this stuff. So I just wanted you guys to go ahead and get this chapter as well, because we're reading the full book. Hope you guys enjoyed today's reading. Now, before I go, I just want to mention something. Now, this book we're reading, guys, I was able to get it out of archive.org. As you guys can see, this is the website, and it's actually been down for days. It's actually never been down this long. I know because I use it almost every day. I've gotten a lot of my books from here, a lot of the scanned primary sources. I'm talking about real old books from this website. And supposedly, you know, a lot of you have been telling me, because I posted this on my wall today, community wall, that they're supposedly got hacked or the publishers are suing them. A lot of people gave me different reasons, or that they're upgrading their website and all that. You know, whatever they're doing, I don't trust any of it. Even if they're upgrading it, what does that mean? Are they erasing certain books? Because, you know, guys, I want to explain something. When I first came to this website, almost every book you were able to download. You know, as the years went by, a lot of the good books you could only borrow for an hour. You couldn't even download them. So that's why I still read from this website. A lot of the books I have to borrow for an hour while I'm reading, you know, recording it and reading it to you. So they started doing that as time went on. And for some reason, it was always these very interesting, revealing books that they were starting to do that with. And so whatever they're doing now, even if they say they got hacked, you know, they are the hackers. That's them hacking this. It seems the Chazars. And who's the publishers? Who publishes most books? Who's the owners of these big publishing companies? Is mostly Chazars. You know what I'm talking about. So what's going on here? Really? And it's a good thing I was able to download this book before they actually did this. So whatever book I know I can download, I always do that. I have a hefty collection already. Don't worry, guys. If this website doesn't come back up, I have a really good collection. If you follow 432 The Drop Radio, he has a great collection on his website. You know, and I'm not just gonna tell you where to go. You got to go watch him. He's gonna let you know. You got to take the time, spend the time, you know, do the work, make the time to go listen. All right. But I do want to say that if for some reason you know, you're not a Patreon and you missed the chance to download this book and you actually want a free PDF of this book we're reading, and along with the other books I share here and exclusive videos like Don't Mention the Chasers on my Patreon page, I actually share a lot of good books. This book I've shared already twice in my channel. I'm gonna just show you right now. All right, here it is. Researches into the Lost Histories of America. And as you guys can see, you can download it if you're interested in having it before it disappears completely from the internet on my Patreon page. And I do that because my patrons go out of their way to support and show some love for me. So I want to give something back. You know, it's not just because of the money thing. I just feel obligated to share something with them since they want to, go ahead and support me. So, if you want to support me in any way, Patreon page, my personal Patreon page is one way you can do it. All right. So again, here is the book, and the website again is down. So hopefully you bring it back up, but it's been down for days, guys. Never been down this long. Never. So also before I go, I just want to take the time to promote my channel membership, as well. If you want to support me that way, I got a lot of exclusive videos there. I'm going to be doing a lot of personal blogs there. The other day I was at the agricultural fair or farmers market. If you missed it, I have it there as a whole hour video. I did a little lunch blog, and this plaza I went to have lunch with my wife, and I just showed the place because it's really cool. I went into a mall before that, getting my indoor soccer shoes. As you guys see here, this was about an hour and a half video. I got another one here. We took a walk in my neighborhood, and then we came back to my yard, and I did some, really good reflection and talking with everybody. I sometimes post what videos I'm gonna be bringing up before I post them, so my members already know. I have a video here about my well maintenance that I was doing. I have a well we built last year, and it's been great using this water, without having to pay for it. But it's really good. And here it goes. A lot of exclusive videos and announcements. Here's me traveling to the beach. This was a great beach right here I was showing. This is Tamarindo Best Western that I stayed in, a blog I was doing, just showing everybody where I was staying while I was at Tamarindo Beach in Costa Rica. This one right here, I did this is actually one of the biggest and longest and highest canopies in the world. I think they actually say it is the highest or longest in the world. And it's overlooking Arenal volcano and a lake, which was dammed. That lake is man-made, actually, by the way. We have been reading about that lately. And there's actually a town that's under there, believe it or not, just like in North America. So that happens almost everywhere. Here's a morning stroll blog in Tibas, and more and more and more. As you guys can see, a lot of my time in gardening. Here's a little video of when I was playing basketball one morning. A couple brothers there playing too. So, that's kind of the stuff I'm going to be sharing as a member. Here's a picture of Kurimeo. So things like that, posting pictures. Here's me on a ferry. I went to, again, Playa Carrillo, Guanacaste, Samara Beach. I was on a boat, on a ferry. I kind of blogged that. If you guys are interested, again, only if you're willing and able, you can support me that way as well. And you can get some exclusive private videos of me, very personal stuff. All right. I'm going to be blogging a lot more. I just got to get used to that because I wasn't really used to blogging. My thing was doing historical videos, not about me, just put out information. But since I've gained so many followers and people are interested in what I do, where I live, I started doing that for my members only. So again, if you're interested to support me that way, you can do that as well. So again, on my channel, if you go to my playlist tab, you're going to find all my playlists. I try to have most of my videos on playlists, specific subjects. Again, today's reading, we have all the previous chapters. Very good information we've gone over. Make sure to catch all the previous parts if you haven't. You could just go to the playlist, Researches into the Lost History of America. So thank you once again for taking the time to watch a video of mine, hearing me read. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to do that. I'll give you your Sunday back. Much love and respect. Pura vida, mi gente. Hawa. Yeah.